What can America learn from the fall of Rome and Sparta? So the ability to prosecute a former elected leader after their term in office was an essential part of both the Roman Republic and the Spartan oligarchy, for it kept these people accountable for their time in office where they possess sacrosanct imperium or immunity. In Rome, this can be seen used well in as late as 70 BC when Gaius Verus was successfully charged after he spent his proconsulship in Sicily, looting and pillaging it for personal gain. In Sparta, every year they elected 5 ephors, the highest magistracies, and they were systematically hauled in before their new successors, where they were held accountable for all the decisions they made the previous year. So holding your ex-leaders to answer for their past crimes is all fine then. What's happening in America is normal and should be encouraged. Well, I say it's very complicated, and although it might be ideologically and morally sound, it does run into some pragmatic issues, to the point where many historians suggest that this doomed both Rome and Sparta. You see, as the Roman Republic expanded, so did the power of their leaders, both politically and militarily. The powerful used their newly found wealth on their political campaigns, which over several centuries of competing against one another became so ruinously expensive. If you weren't Crassus, the only way to pay back your debt was to use your 1 year as consul to go on campaign and pillage the wealth of a neighbour, and thus over centuries their crimes grew larger and larger, making prosecuting them easier and more lucrative, and thus it became more expensive to bribe and lawyer your way out, resulting in you needing to pillage even more wealth to protect yourself. And over centuries the only thing protecting you from the court is the massive army that you took control of during your time in office. And this was the reason that many believe was the last straw that convinced Julius Caesar to cross the Rubicon and march on Rome. Over in Sparta they had another issue. These ephors, the highest magistracies, scared of the formal review process, were so afraid of making any substantial change that there is no surviving record of any significant legislations passed by the ephors ever in centuries of Spartan history. It could be because records were simply lost, but many historians suggest it was Sparta's lack of ability to enact well-needed reform, for example to solve their demographics collapse and slavery issue, that they've slowly faded out of history. So the normalization of prosecution can be problematic, but this is made even more so in today's climate, for no president in all the 245 years of the United States existence has ever been indicted until now. Sure, this may be the correct and moral thing to do in this instance, and justice would be served, but have we considered how this new precedent may affect the Republic in 50, 100 or 200 years time? Could this be normalized? Could it get out of control and cause effects that we simply could not fathom right now? Tiberius Gracchus, for example, when he bypassed the Senate in 133 BC, did he know that he was creating a model for 100 plus years of demagogues, a way to bypass their political enemies in the Senate, forever destabilizing the Republic? 30 years later, when the Republic couldn't conscript enough landowners to join the legions, and Marius pragmatically just removed the land requirement, did Marius understand that this decision made Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon in 50 years' time conceivable? If prosecutions became normalized after this event, and there was another January 6 in 50 years' time, would that leader step down voluntarily, knowing that he'd definitely be prosecuted, exiled, or perhaps even worse? Or will the US follow Sparta's path? Too fearful to make decisions, future presidents will be too scared to rock the boat in case of indictments, leading to the US forever unable to solve the challenges that it'll face. In the event of breaking centuries-old taboos and creating new precedent, especially in times that don't immediately threaten the well-being of the Republic, I personally like to take a very careful and very long view approach, and maybe more of us should too. Thanks for watching.